Seven at Pier Elementary School had a huge surprise at this morning's staff meeting when the American Heart Association and the NFL Foundation gifted them $10,000 to give their gym a complete makeover, part of something called the Kids Heart Challenge program, where Dickinson Elementary School students, staff, and families could learn signs of stroke and how to do CPR. For every 18 people who completed the training, the school was entered into a drawing. Folks from the Packers came to present the check, bringing heart survivor Dominic along to share his story. Dickinson Elementary was one of 5 schools in the entire country to receive that award. What a tremendous